Can you guys hear me now? I'm hoping that you're able to hear me. Let me know if you guys can hear me. You can hear me now, Trav? I wish I could do one live where something didn't go wrong. Okay, awesome. All right, let's go ahead and get this started. Community news. Anybody got any community news? Let's go ahead and jump straight into it. I know Brian is really close to hitting 1K. He's like 15 away. We got 22 comics hit 500 this past week. But if any of you guys have any news to share that you want to share with everybody, please do right now. And let's spread the word to everyone. But I do know Brian dropped his video for his 1K giveaway. Go check that out on his channel for the details, though. And from what I understand, he's got some really cool prizes. So you definitely want to check that out. And let's see. Brian about to hit 1K. Cat Fan hitting 300 finally. That's awesome. Congratulations, Cat Fan. Comic Cap is getting close to hitting 400. So if anyone has not subscribed to Brian, LCS, or Comic Cap, or Cat Fan Comics Man, please go sub them up. Let's get them to their milestones. That'd be awesome. And even if they're already at their milestone, let's keep them going and get them started towards the next one. But I hope everybody's having a good evening. I'm having a pretty good one, other than the technical difficulties. I'm hoping we are okay now, and we don't run into any more bumps, because we're having a good buddy of mine on, and I'm really looking forward to hearing his story tonight. Rather than just kind of blabbing on for an hour myself, I thought it would be cool to have Derrz on, but it's going to be really cool. Let's see. Callie said I hit 100, 150 somehow. Well, let's keep it going. Shoot for 200 next. Manny the Hobgoblin needs super love at 30 subs. Okay, yeah, everybody go sub. I'm going to make a note of that right now, so that when this ends, I can go sub him up. Manny the Hobgoblin. So everybody make sure to go sub him up. Let's get him to 100. There's no reason we can't get that guy to 100. But everybody go show that guy some love. Mike says, congrats, Callie. Let's see. I know Roscoe's got a good show tonight. Him and Travis, TM Nerdy, have a good show after this at 8:35 p.m. Eastern Time. So I'm looking forward to that one. They have Norrin Rad 82 this week, I think, if I remember correctly. And then next week the Trish Forstner week. I think next week is Trish Forstner. So that'll be a good week as well. I'm looking forward to that one. All right, if we're done with the community news, let's go ahead and do a 10-second moment of silence. It's something I like to do to remember anyone that any of us have lost over the past year from the comic book community or from our personal lives. So let's go ahead and start with a 10-second moment of silence and follow it by the Serenity Prayer. All right, I appreciate it, guys. And we'll start the Serenity Prayer. You can follow me if you want to. You don't have to. It's just something I like to do, something I borrowed from the meetings that I always liked. So, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference just for today. And I wanted to start with a quote. I understand myself only after destroying myself. And only in the process of fixing myself did I know who I really was. And this live, I thought we would bring in someone else in the community that could maybe give us a different perspective on things. some different learning experiences based on mistakes that he has made, and maybe he can help us all learn how to better keep a positive outlook on life and just things in general. And at the very least, it's awesome learning about different members of the comic book community. And this guy happens to be a good friend of mine, like I was saying before, with a great positive outlook on life. And he has a story to share, and I'm here for it. I think we all have a lot to learn from each other. If we can learn from our mistakes and then pass this knowledge on to others, as well as being a cushion for those to fall on that may stumble and fall along the way. Combine that with a love for comic books, and this is what Comicbook Addicts is all about. And I couldn't think of a better person to have than for the first guest than my comic book homie, Adam Derrz, otherwise known as Collecting with Derrz. He's going to come on, tell us about himself, answer some questions, and possibly show us some cool comic books that he's picked up over the past week. So, yeah, let's go ahead and see if we can get Derrz, my buddy Derrz, on here. Let me see. And this is my first time having a guest, so let's see. Let's see. What do I do? What am I doing to get him in here? Sorry, guys. Yes. Ah, I had it. Add stream. There we go. Sorry, y'all. All right, he's on here. You can't hear me now? Shit, dude. What? I didn't mute him. I can't figure out what is. I got you muted. I've got you muted on my end somehow. Son of a. Sorry, y'all. Let's see. Unmute. Let's try this.
Oh, can you hear me? Please hear me. Please be able to hear me.
Dude, we got it. We got it.
You can hear me? You can hear me? Awesome.
Yes.
Awesome. Awesome.
Okay.
Hello, all my beautiful people. Sorry about that. Scotty restarted his phone. We were ready to rock. Yeah, you brought me in, and as soon as you brought me in, you must have bumped that you muted me, and I was like, man, I had my girl running sidekick over in the other room in chat. So we're good now, bro.
I was getting so frustrated, dude, because I was like, man, I got my homie Derrz in here. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be a fun show. And then
dude, it happens, man.
Difficulty.
That's why, like, I'm very OCD. I want to get backstage like 15, 20 minutes before a live, hash all that stuff out, and then hope for the best. But as long as we're good now, that's all that matters.
Hell yeah, dude. Well, I got a bunch of stuff that I wanted to ask you, but tell us a little bit about you, man. Like, tell anybody that doesn't know about Collecting with Derrz, tell us about you and tell us about your channel. What are you about?
So my real name's Adam. My last name's Derrz. I have a Celtic heritage, so I've always had the nickname Derrz. Even before the show Workaholics came out, I had Derrz before that. I'm born and raised in Ohio, and I suffered with a lot of addiction and a lot of like depression in my early 20s and my late teens and stuff like that. And YouTube always carried me through that. YouTube was always like the one friend that always had my back. I could always call on YouTube. I could always go to YouTube to watch channels that I loved, in the past like 10 or 15 years. And I still watch a lot of those channels, but whenever I was having dark times, I could just go hang out with them. So I knew down the line one day I always wanted to start a YouTube. And then a couple of years ago when I was collecting Funkos and stuff like that, I was really into like hunting and doing those. I did a couple videos of my Funkos, but like about a month or two after I posted those, I just completely got out of Funko. So I knew I wanted to keep making YouTube because, like I said, I just want to be that positive light for one person out there. As long as I can connect with one person and maybe change their day for the better, that's all it is for me. So I just try to bring as much positivity and as fun as I can, man.
And that was actually how I discovered you for the first time, was one of your pop hunt videos that you had posted.
Yep. Yep.
And I think I commented on there and kind of reached out, and we just became friends from there.
Yep. Went through the Facebook community, through Mike Comic Book Corner 2.0, linked up through there.
Yes.
And then you were the one, you're like, hey man, you got that energy, you got that passion. Why don't you start making YouTube videos? And this was probably about six months after you started. I'm like, why not? I just got a new phone. I got a real nice phone and everything. I can at least attempt to make videos. So I just kind of roll with it. And now being a part of the community is life changing for me.
Dude, it's awesome, man. I've loved watching you evolve from just the very beginning to the channel that you've become now, and it's really awesome. I love what you're doing. I love the positivity that you bring in your videos. There are a lot of similarities, I think, between what me and you do on our channels, but it's also very different at the same time.
Yep.
But ultimately, we're both spreading positivity, and we're both trying to do something good. And I love that about you. Yeah, and I love that about you, dude. I love that about you, and I love that about your channel. But I want to hear some stuff for maybe somebody out there that's struggling, that might need to hear from the shit that we went through, so maybe they don't have to repeat the same mistakes. But what was in the recovery world, we call it DOC, but it stands for drug of choice. What was your drug of choice?
So I will say I experimented with every drug except heroin. Heroin, I never put needles in my. I have experimented with oxys and stuff like that back in the day. But my go-to drug of choice was cocaine. That was what, for about 2 or 3 years, I had a really bad habit with.
Okay. What choices do you think that you made that? Well, first off, what was rock bottom for you? What was the moment that you realized that you needed to do something different?
Well, to touch on that, I think we're jumping ahead a little bit, because there's a whole like midnight in my early, like not early teens, but like towards my late teens and stuff, that kind of led me in, because I didn't first try cocaine until I was like 22 or 23.
Yeah.
So I didn't even attempt that or anything, but I've always been, especially in my younger days, I was really experimental. I had a single mom. Go ahead.
No. Go ahead.
No, I was just trying to give a little baseline. I had a single mom. My parents divorced when I was 6, so I was raised by her. I love her to death and everything. And I was a like straight A student up until 15, and then I just kind of rebelled and kind of got that. I was really sheltered and everything. I was hanging around all my friends. They were starting to smoke cigarettes. So I've always been very experimental with those things back in the day.
So do you think it was a series of bad choices that just kind of
100%. 100%.
Okay. How did it affect the relationships in your life when you were actively using? What was your relationships in your life like with the people you loved?
So
did they know? Did they even know?
So that's what I was about to say. If I get emotional at any point during this, everything I'm saying, there's only like a hand, like I can count 5 people probably that know what I'm talking about. A lot of my family doesn't know about this. A lot of my friends don't know about this. My girlfriend, my mom, she knows about, but outside of that, this is the first time I've ever really talked about it. But kind of how that affected my relationships, and this coincide with rock bottom, is when I was doing cocaine, and I had a job, and I was living with one of my buddies, and not the girlfriend I'm with now. This was, I'd say, when I was like 22 or 23 when I first started using. I was living with my buddy, had a girlfriend. She lived with me at the time, and was with my son. And my son, there's like a little story behind there that we'll have to go, that I'll have to touch on. But at the time, basically my son had to go move with my mom, and he lived with her she lived in the same town. So it's not like I was far away from him, but just with everything going on, he lived with her for about a year. But basically, long story short, I lost my girlfriend. I lost the house I was living in with my friend. I lost my job, and I was basically left with like $20 in my pocket.
Okay. So that is definitely a rock bottom for sure. And it
Yeah.
sounds like it put a strain on all the relationships around you. And
Yep.
I can definitely relate with what you were saying about your son. Now, how do you think that you were able to how are you able to turn it around? Like once you realize that, this has gone too far. I don't like the way things are with my son. I want to do better. I love him more. How are you able to turn things around?
So like I said, it kind of there was a snowball of things that led into all this usage and stuff. But it was basically when I was left with an ultimatum. My girlfriend left me. I talked to my mom and explained what was going on, that my son was going to need to come stay with her for a little bit while I got my act together, which was fine because, like I said, we still left in the same town. So it didn't really change anything. I just didn't want him in the environment. And plus, I was moving out of my friends. So at that time, for about 3 or 4 months, I was just going couch to couch, bouncing from buddies to buddies. I didn't have a job. I was just basically doing what I could to survive. And what kind of woke me up from that was it kind of all happened at once. One of my friends approached me and he's like, "Hey," he's like, "I have a spare bedroom. My friend's moving out. You can move in there." And then the same day, one of my other friends reached out and he's like, "Hey, my dad's hiring for this job." So I got the job with him. I moved in with him. And basically, when I moved in with him, that was when I quit cigarettes and blow, cocaine, cold turkey. I quit both those at the same time. And I've been clean ever since.
That's awesome, man. That's really cool.
It was just touching. I guess to answer the question, it was more what woke me up was the opportunity. Because, like I said, I was just going from the motion and motion and motion. I would still be seeing my son, still doing everything like that, but being away from him was absolutely killing me and stuff like that. But it was when I had all these opportunities all at once to change. I'm very willpowered. I'm very strong mindset. I know I can do things if I put my head to it. So when all these opportunities presented myself, I had to take them.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, I'm glad that you were able to take that and capitalize off of it because, like, not a lot of people can do that. Not a lot of people are able to just say that I want to change. I'm ready to change and I want to do this and just up and do it like you did. It's a lot of people aren't able to do it. They don't have the willpower that you do. So I definitely think that's an admirable thing, and I definitely congratulate you on being able to turn your life around, but not just turn your life around, but become like this positive person who I look up to in that aspect. Like I wish that I were as positive a person as you are. I wish that
not always positive, man.
But
I do my best.
I think it's really cool though. But what I touched on a couple of weeks, gratitude, things that you're grateful for, that we are grateful for. What are some things that you're grateful for?
100%. I'm grateful for having those experiences. Everything I talk about, I'm grateful that I went through all these experiences back in the day because, like I said, I was a partier. I was very experimental. And now that I'm 33, I've been clean for almost 6 years now. I never want to do anything like that again. I don't drink. I don't do anything. So it basically flushed all that out of my system and made me realize I never want to do anything like that again. I have a house with my girlfriend. I have a car. I have a good family. I have a good job. I have a beautiful community that embraces me and my weirdness and all my flaws, and I embrace all of them back. And like I said, man, we're just one big family. So I'm grateful for each and every one of you, for sure.
Yeah, and I know speaking for the community, we love you, man.
Thanks,
I'm
man.
super,
that means a lot.
Yeah, dude, we really do. I love seeing your positivity. That's my favorite thing. You were talking a little bit about, having the good job and having a really pretty girlfriend, and just what are some short-term goals that you have for you and her and just in life, and what are some short-term goals that you set for yourself, and then maybe some long-term goals that you've made?
So short-term goals, I'm not sure if she's still watching this or not, but I do want to propose and I do want to spend the rest of my life with my current girlfriend. That's already decided.
Nice.
I don't know if I'm going to do it next week, or it's either going to be this weekend or the following weekend. I'm ordering tickets and booking the hotel and everything for Heroes Con. So one of the things I've missed out, like last year I was supposed to go to New York Comic Con, but it didn't work. I've never been to like a real con. So this year I
Me
want to
either.
try and I want to try and get out and explore those cons. And that's where all the homies are going. So it's going to be huge. Even if I don't buy anything, I just want to hang out with them. But something long-term goal. So right now we're like where we live. I think we have like a 5-year or 6-year lease on our house. I don't know. I live in Ohio, and I mean I love my state and I love all the people here, but I just hate the cold and I hate the culture around here. I definitely want to
Yeah.
live out west, somewhere out west, or maybe even down south. Maybe like not Florida, but like North Carolina, South Carolina, Tennessee area, something like that, or just out west. So those are my long-term goals.
Move to Chattanooga. I need some comic book friends here in Chattanooga.
Yeah, Tennessee's nice, man. I like Tennessee. I like Knoxville a lot.
It's beautiful out here. If you like
It
the
is.
mountains and things like
Yeah.
that, I mean, yeah, it's beautiful.
My mom lives in Kentucky, so that'd be closer to her too.
So that's why you came down to Knoxville that time.
Yeah. Yep.
Cool. All right. Well, when you were okay, what were some reasons that made you use, like, what kind of drove you to? You were talking about you kind of had troubles earlier in life, so obviously that drove you to using, right?
hmm So basically, like I said, I was a sheltered kid. I was a straight A kid. But as soon as I hit 15, as soon as I hit high school, bro, I exploded. I rebelled so hard. Smoked cigarettes. I started smoking weed. I started like my freshman year was mostly just doing cigarettes, drinking, and stuff like that. And then my sophomore and junior year were just kind of the same. And then my senior year is when I started. I met up with a couple buddies, and we're not friends anymore now, thank God. But those were the dudes that kind of introduced me to like pills and the harder stuff and like acid and shrooms and basically anything and everything under the sun. But I guess it was I think I was 20, almost 21, and one of my friends he moved to Detroit, and he was like one of my best friends. So he lived in Detroit for a couple months, and he basically reached out to me and he said if he had a business opportunity. And this business opportunity was me and another friend would ride up to Detroit, and we would get a bunch of guns, get a bunch of kilos of cocaine and stuff like that, load our car up, and we would just move it back and forth between like Ohio and Detroit. That went on for like 6 or 7 months. It was incredible money, some of the scariest things I've ever done in my life, and I never want to get back to that moment. But that's kind of what introduced me to the game and kind of the drug that of my choice. I wasn't using at the time, but as soon as I was done doing that, that's when all I had all the money. And I guess I should backtrack a little bit to talk about my son, because the first 6 or 7 months he was born, I was with my baby mom. I was a stay-at-home dad because I didn't want to get him into daycare or anything like that. It was just too expensive. I wanted to do all that, and I was working like a minimum wage job. And about a year in, me and her, it was kind of hit rocky and stuff like that. And basically, out of nowhere, it was basically the flip of the script. She started hanging out with some people, and she was straight shooting heroin. Doing heroin, snorting it. She overdosed and everything. So it got to the point where she signed off her rights completely with my son. And I gave my son emergency custody to my mom because at that time, me and her were living together. I had a minimum wage job. So me and my son, we just moved in with my mom. I was like I said, just around 20 at this time. So I wasn't working or anything. And me and my mom, I love her to death, but it's a very strained relationship. We never saw eye to eye back in the day. Like I said, I used to rebel. So I needed to get my life together. And for that year while I was doing that, I basically was cut off. I didn't talk to my son. I didn't see my son. She didn't let me see him or anything like that. And that went on for about a year. And basically, that's when I moved back into town. Got an apartment with my buddy. My son was living there. Yeah, I was using off and on at times like that. Absolutely terrible thing to do. He wasn't. It was an amazing. You would never think that was the thing with me. My thing. You would look at me and never tell that I was a drug user. I wouldn't do it around anybody. I wouldn't talk about it. I would never. I went to work. I had a full-time job. I paid all my bills. So you would never think I was using drugs besides me losing like 100 pounds. So
Mhm.
that's kind of what led up to my main usage.
Okay, cool. Um, Dude, it's amazing that you were able to turn it around though, and like that. I
I
don't know.
had
It's
to,
really
man.
cool.
Like I would have lost my son forever. I don't know if I would have. There was times when I was using, I could look down and I could see my heart beating in my chest. Like that's how fast my heart from using drugs. It's just, and then it's like, oh, I guess I might die tonight. So what do I do? Do I just keep using? I might as well. I have all this right here. If I'm gonna die, I'm just gonna keep doing it. Thankfully, I've never OD'd. I've never had a drug charge somehow. And surprisingly, I never went to rehab. Like I said, I just had those opportunities and I quit blowing cigarettes cold turkey. And now my son, I have full custody of him. I have like a family. Like I said, I've been clean 6 years. So
Good for you, man. And I'm so glad that you were able to turn it around. Um,
right back to you, brother.
what Now that you were able to turn it around and you're living a better life, and you are living a better life, I see you're a happy person, and you seem to have a pretty good life going for yourself. Um, what let's see, what would you say to somebody out there that was struggling, maybe in secret, and just don't want to tell anybody? What would you tell somebody that was out there struggling? Like, what advice would you give to somebody like that?
Don't ever be scared or ashamed of what you do. Everybody has their vices. Pop is a drug. Cigarettes are a drug. Beer's a drug, and they're legal. If you're struggling with something, talk about it. That's one thing I do with my Sunday night streams. I want people to be open. I know it's hard to talk about things, but somebody like me that I used to have depression, anxiety. I'll say I've tried to kill myself twice in my early 20s or early teen or late teens before my son was born, uh, unsuccessfully, thankfully. But I just tell people just always be open. I know it's tough. I know it's tough out there, but somebody like me who literally I was surrounded by darkness. I thought nothing was going to come from my life. I hated the world. I hated my place in life. Now I just want to be a positive person as much as I can be. Even if I'm depressed or even if I'm having a bad day, if I can, my biggest thing is you never know if somebody's having a bad day. So always try and be that light for somebody. And even if I'm having a shitty day, if I can reach out to somebody and change that just one person, that's all I need.
I love that. I love that, man. Yeah, that's really cool. Okay, let's see what else I got for you. Let's talk about some comics, man.
For sure, man.
What do comics mean to you in terms of keeping you straight? Does having the hobby help you? Is it something that helps keep you in line? Is reading and having that to fill a void in your life aside from your girlfriend and your job? Does that help keep you in line? Is it something that helps you?
So I made a decision long ago that I would never like I drink occasionally. If it's a special event or something, I might have a mixed drink or something, but I'm not going to the bars or anything. But I made years and years ago when I quit cold turkey, I knew I was never going to smoke cigarettes again. I mean, I still vape, but I knew 100% I was never going to touch drugs again. I've partied harder in my mid 20s than most people have their whole life. So I've already got that in. But for me, for comics, is I don't always I come off as a goofball and stuff like that, but I'm a very deep and intellectual person. I love having open conversations. I love having great opinions and debates and stuff like that. So reading for me is great for that. It fills my brain because I hate to read. Like I don't like regular books or anything like that. But comics and stuff like that, man, it's just an escape. It's that fantasy world, just like you were when a kid, and I just love that about any comics. So.
Cool. Well, what are some comics you hope to add to your collection this year? What are some books that you got on your list that you're after right now?
I think let's see, I have issue. I need the first Black Suit Spider-Man for Secret Wars, and then the first Spider-Woman for Secret Wars as well. And then that would complete my original run for Secret Wars. And then my one big grail book is I want the first appearance of Gunslinger. It's like a $500, $600, $700 book or whatever. But if I get it, I might want one that's signed or like a 9.8. I'm not sure because like even raw, you can get them both together for like $300, $400, $500. But I think if I'm going to go for like that Big Daddy book, I might as well just go hard for it.
So when you say signed, do you mean by McFarlane or like?
Yeah, McFarlane.
Okay.
Sorry, I don't own any McFarlane signed books, unfortunately.
Yeah, you're good, man. I got a McFarlane related question for you, and this is an interesting one. I thought it was different. If you could place McFarlane on any comic, what would you put him on? Any comic, DC, Marvel, Independent, any series ever, you could put McFarlane on. Just to do the art, just
like, are you talking about like what's going on right now, or just ever any time in the history of comic books?
Yeah, you could change history and put him on a run in the place of somebody else.
Man, I got to be careful because I might get ruined. But that's a tough question.
It's an interesting question, I thought.
Because if you were going to say current books, I'd say I'd love to see him come back on Spider-Man. I'd love to see him.
What's a character you've never seen him draw that you would want to see him draw?
I'm biased on this, but hang on, I got it right here. You know me, bro. Vanish. It gives me such hardcore Spawn vibes in the artwork and everything. I would love to see McFarlane kill that book one time.
Hell yeah. Okay.
You know me, man. I don't go too retro. Anything before like 85 is a little. Is what I stick to like 85 to current. I love everything before 85 for sure. I love all that stuff, but man, what I collect is like 85 to now.
Yeah, no, I get it. Okay, what is it about Spawn? I know Spawn is obviously your favorite. Everybody knows, like when you see Spawn, you think Derrz. But what makes Spawn? What is it about Spawn that makes it your favorite?
So as a kid, I was kind of like the preppy jockey kid. My mom always made sure I had all the nicest clothes and stuff like that. And when I first started getting into comic books, everybody was reading like Spider-Man, Iron Man, Hulk, Captain America, Batman, Superman. I was the kid that was super preppy and jockey, but I was also the kid hanging out with like the 5 or 6 weirdest, most misfit kids in school that nobody else hung out with. Because those were the coolest kids. Those were the kids that were collecting Pokemon cards and reading comics and playing video games. So that was my crowd. So that's kind of how I got introduced to comics. But everybody else, like I said, everybody was reading Superman and stuff like that. And I didn't want to jump on with that. So I remember going to a comic book shop one time and I seen Spawn for the first time. And he was like that kind of anti-hero. I've always been into horror as a kid. I was watching Jason, Michael Myers, Freddy, and all that stuff. So he was kind of always that anti-hero and darker, but he was also still mainstream. So Spawn was instantly relevant for me.
Nice. Awesome. Well, okay. This is a little bit off the subject, but what are 3 people in the comic book community that you would like to collab with in the future?
So when you send me a couple test questions. This is one of them that I've been thinking about all day. And there's really not 3 people. There's so many people I would love to collaborate in the community. Like I've collaborated with Brian a lot. This is really my first collab with you. I've collabed with my Matty Ice a little bit, but like Trev's one of the homies. He just did a face reveal. I'd love to get on with him. Cat Fan Comics Man, I'd love to hit up Roscoe and TM Nerdy and get on with them. Rob, I'd love to get grilled by him one time and roasted. Gary, of course. DJ Links. Once I get my live set up a little bit, love to be cool to kick it with Spine Tick sometime. The list just goes on and on and on, man. I want to collaborate and hang out with as many people as you can. Mark from Legion of Comics, I love hanging out with him because, like I said, I love debating. And he's somebody that can go toe-to-toe with me and not get too offended with it. So I love that. But like I said, man, the list goes on and on and on. So it could be anybody.
Nice. Yeah, he seems like a pretty good guy. I ordered the the Marcus meme shirt off of his site the other day. I
That's funny.
cannot freaking wait to get that, dude. I'm supposed
That's
to have
awesome.
it on the second. Yeah, so I
That's so
can't
dope.
wait to have that. Because I'm actually supposed to have Marcus, I think not next Monday, but the Monday after. So I'm hoping to have the Marcus shirt to wear on the Marcus show.
That'd be dope, dude.
But anyways, let's see. You could have anyone's power set. Whose power set are you picking?
Anybody's power set. I think I'd want to be one of the Eternals. Not for any of the specific powers, just because for one of me, I embrace death. I know it's a fact of life and everything. But what pisses me off about dying is technology. I'm a big tech guy. I love seeing what technology does and stuff like that. And it sucks that I'm not going to see what video games or movies or stuff like that comes out 150, 200 years from now or 75 years from now. I want to continue to see that. So I'd pick one of the Eternals because they live forever. So, I mean, they don't really live forever. Every time a human dies, I should say, they get reborn is technically what happens.
Yeah. That's a good answer. I like that answer.
Yeah.
Okay. What is an underrated or underused character that you love?
Blade, right off the rip. Instant,
Blade.
Easy question. Yep. He's in
Blade.
Yeah, he's in Midnight Suns right now, and I think his daughter is going to be heating up this year. But his movie just got not canceled, but pushed back and everything. I love Wesley Snipes' Blade. Like, it's some of my favorite movies of all time, like the old '90s ones. So Blade's been always an underrated character, and he's not in enough comics for me.
Nice. Okay. Let's see. What projects do you have coming up on your channel? What are you working on currently?
I'm still doing my Sunday sessions every Sunday, kind of nailing those. They're just random, just hangouts for the homies, just seeing how everybody's week's going. I have like 4 or 5 videos of my, I'm bringing back story time, but I'm reading I'll have, instead of doing like Vanish and then like Plush, what I'm reading, how a lot of people do reviews, I'll have Vanish issue 1, 2, 3, and 4 and go through all of those as one video and then knock that out because I've slacked off. I have 30 books right here. For example, Gunslinger. I want people to, if you're not reading Gunslinger, I'll do Gunslinger and 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, one video, and then 5 through 10. And now we're at 15. So to catch them up like that. And then I'm always going to be doing my Friday Positivity and Shadow videos. And I got some more Walking Dead books coming in from Rhino's Comics. Shout out to Gary for hooking me up with his LCS. And then this weekend I'll be getting my stack of comics like always.
Dude, that sounds awesome, especially the story time thing.
Yeah, I got super lazy with it. It was just it was the hardest videos for me to film before I got my tripod and everything because how I had to do it, dude, it just took hours to film a 5-minute video. So it was kind of, I'm big on if you're not having fun with it, scrap it. So that was one thing. I wasn't having fun with it, but I don't want to nix it. So I'm just revamping it. And right now, like I said, I have 4 or 5 videos filmed. I just want to get them all through. That way I can just upload them. Bam, 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 bam.
Okay. Well, okay. Who's an artist you would like to have on your channel? If you could just pick any artist to have on an interview, who would you like to have on there? Or just name a couple. It doesn't have to be one. I know.
I'm loving Brett Booth. Are you talking about famous artists? Yeah, I love. Yeah, so Brett Booth, I love him on Gunslinger. I love Geek Out with Roscoe. I love all the stuff he does. I've seen Norinrad do a bunch of art. He does amazing stuff. And there's one dude I've been hitting him up constantly on Instagram because I need somebody to do a logo for me. I have everything envisioned and everything ready to rock, but I'm not artistic, so I'll never be able to do it. But his Instagram's INYO face art, Inyo face art, and he makes all over printed shirts or whatever. And right now he's coming out with his Black All-Star shirt. and I'm pretty sure if I can remember, it's Spawn, Vader, Batman, Shadow the Hedgehog, the two bullets from Mario, uh,
Mhm.
High from one of the animes, and then Blade, and it's like an all over print shirt, but it's very vibrant art, and I'm ordering a few of his shirts, and that's what I'm gonna be wearing to cons this year.
Dude, that's awesome. I can't wait to see a logo for you too. That's going to be really cool. Did I ever tell you the story of my logo? How I got the logo
Mm-mm.
for my channel?
Mm-mm.
It's actually done by there's a local artist here in Chattanooga who he does work for IDW in particular, but he does a lot of work on Star Wars and Transformer Beast Wars. But it's Andy Duggan. But I commissioned him to do my logo. So he actually
That's dope.
it's basically an IDW artist. I wanted to get a
So,
comic book artist to do my logo because I figured for a comic book channel,
mhm.
it fit.
So I'll give you kind of what I want. Basically, I want collecting with Derrz, like my logo, like just my name, but coming out of the background like spawn chains, and then but breaking apart my logo. That's kind of what I want.
That'll look really good. Yeah, I like that a lot. Okay, so let's talk the past week in comic books. What's the best book you've read in the last week?
I'm a little behind, but the last book I've read in the last week or two was the new Frank Miller, Jorge Jimenez, Nemesis Reloaded. I didn't read the first run when it came out, but picture Batman with dual katanas murdering everybody. That's the story.
Nice.
Yeah, it's fire.
I'll show you my favorite read from the past week. Have you read this one yet? Maniac of New York.
I haven't. I seen that on your what you were reading on the week, but I've actually never heard of that one.
Oh, dude, this is volume 3. Okay, it's an active stock. It's like a slasher comic with sort of a new twist. But this is volume 3. The first 2 volumes, it's been this killer, like this. The maniac has been this killer named Harry. But the new volume, it's a new killer. He gets killed off the last volume, and so for this new volume, it's a brand new killer takes the mantle. And I read it. Let's see, was it? I think it was yesterday. I read it. I get my days mixed up, but it was really good. It was really good.
If it's slasher like that, I'm sure you enjoy it because I love that horror stuff too. It's just my LCS is weird about books sometimes. Like I had to go, they didn't get Nemesis in, so I had to go to a different LCS. Some image books and like indie books they never get in.
I'm gonna go grab Nemesis. I'm gonna check that out. If you see Maniac in New York, I would highly recommend picking it up. It's awesome, dude.
For sure. Another book I'm looking for is shout out to Matty Ice. I'm definitely, if I see Shirtless Bear Fighter that he keeps talking about, I'm for sure grabbing that, dude. Shit looks wild.
If I could find like an issue 1 for that, I would, because I found like issue 2 and I don't know. I found some later issues, but I can't find issue 1. I want to start at the beginning on that.
Right, same. I'm sure it would come out in trade.
What's your runner-up for the week? What's your second favorite book?
Let's see. I would say Ghost Rider issue. What is this? 10. It's wrapping up the first arc. It was him versus Exhaust, and if you're into horror, bro, Ghost Rider murders the artwork. It has been like a horror book the whole time. I love it.
See, I fell off at some point. I was on that run until issue like 6, and I liked it. I don't know why I fell off, but it was good when I read it. I liked it.
Yeah,
it had a horror twist.
Oh yeah, for sure. That's what Carnage is trying to do too. Yeah, it's still good. This just wrapped up the newest arc. Him and Exhaust fought.
Nice.
Side note. That's like so. It's like part of him. Like basically all the ash from Ghost Rider got sucked out and created Exhaust.
Oh, well, here's no, go ahead.
I was gonna say I'm not reading Punisher, but I just saw that the Punisher book, he's going to be fighting like who is it? Moon Knight, Daredevil, and like 2 or 3 other characters is what's going to be happening in that book. So I think I might need to go back and read that story.
Hell yeah, that sounds really good. I was just going to show you this would be my runner-up, the new
That's
run
what I
for
saw.
Barbaric. Have you ever read that?
No, but dude, Mike always from Comic Book Corner, he raves about that book. Is that the one where the axe lusts for blood and can talk and stuff like that?
Yeah, every time that
No.
he gets like a victim and gets to feed on blood, he gets drunk off of it. Like he literally
That's
gets
dope.
intoxicated. It's funny. It's hilarious, dude. He starts slurring, but it's really good though. It's a good book. That's my favorite comic on Vault for sure. It's
I
really
seen
good.
I seen Mike just mentioned. I think it was this issue, the Amazing Spider-Man with the end with what was it, Rack or whatever, that dude at the
Yeah,
end.
Wreck Rat.
Yeah, dude,
I
I
love
dig
Wreck
it,
Rat.
man. Yeah, same. I love wild stuff like that. I don't care.
It's been my favorite part of the dark web is when Wreck Rat comes out at the end. It's hilarious.
That was wild. I enjoy Dark Web, but like I said, I enjoy fantasy and off the wall stuff. I think this is
But
going to be a good
dude,
year for comics.
yeah, man. Yeah, I think so. Dude, I want to thank you so much for coming on and sharing your
Of course,
story
bro.
and sharing personal details and being my first guest. Thanks, dude. Thank
It's
you
an
so
honor,
much.
bro. It is an honor, bro. Thank you for having me on.
And I definitely, if any of you guys out there has never checked out Collecting with Derrz, you definitely should go sub him up, go check out his channel. One of my best comic book homies. I love him to death. He's always spreading positivity. I highly recommend him. He's an awesome dude. But yeah, go sub him up if you never have. Thank you, dude. Thank you for
Of
showing
course,
up,
bro.
and thank you for supporting me. You know, you got my support in return, and I love you to
Always,
death,
bro.
man.
Same,
And
man. Love you back.
I love all you guys in the comic book community. Jump over to Geek Out with Roscoe and hang out with. Let's all go hang out with him and TM Nerdy. And it starts at 8:35, so here in 10 minutes. So everybody jump over and check out Roscoe and TM. And thank you guys from the bottom of my heart for coming out and hanging out on episode 4. I had fun, even though we had technical difficulties. It was very fun. But dude, I loved having you on, Derrz. Thank you so
Of course,
much,
man. It was a blast. Anytime, bro.
All right, dude. Well, I'll see you guys later. Peace.
Later, man. Everybody have a beautiful night. It's the awkward stage of leaving StreamYard. It's the awkward stage.